Just Noise is, first of all, is a Maltese story. And it's important because I'm Italian, but I think that a lot of foreigners don't know anything about Maltese history. It's a story that's not well known, and it's good to tell it because it's important. But on the other hand, I think it's a universal story too. It is a story of a people that rebels against oppression, and this is something that can be understood anytime, anywhere in the world.
I wish to quote Harvey Keitel when he was in Malta during one of the film conversations, and he said, emotionally, people, you should be very proud of what have been done on 7 June 1990.
The riots per se, although we know and celebrate, and we celebrate them yearly, there is this thing that very few people know about it. So we went back and looked at all the documentation present to be able to build the story. So we tried as much as possible to have a historically correct project.
When I spoke to David regarding how he thinks that the British army would look like, I mean, they're the army of the empire and how they're going to be facing. I was imagining them, they're all, drilled to the maximum, they're all prim and proper with their uniforms tied and everything. And he said, yes, that was true. He said, but Peja, this was June, it was hot outside, we were all sweating a lot and nobody wanted to be here. And then that moment I knew he has a very clear vision how this part of the production is going to look like.
There are people who have the power and people who don't have the power. People who have the guns and people who don't have the guns, and that's a clear distinction. But at the same time, history is not made of black and white, unfortunately. It's made of a lot of gray zones. So I think that all the characters in the story, they do what they think is best, and unfortunately that's not enough to prevent a disaster.
We never wanted to have a good guys and bad guys. This wasn't the idea. It's a moment in time of human history where things have gone terribly wrong.
It's a story of a defeat, because at the end the Maltese are crushed and they have to wait another 2 years to get some recognition. But that's why it is interesting, because that's that part, not the part in which everybody is singing and happy.
There is a sort of universality about the whole story. If you take what happened in Malta, has happened in many other countries. An oppressor who is trying to strangle a population, and that population fighting back to win its freedom.
Well, of course, one of the great things about directing this movie is to have the chance of working with guys like Harvey Keitel and Malcolm McDowell, which are icons of the history of movies.
They have brought us incredible value, artistic value. The depth of the characters they were portraying were just incredible. Seeing the rushes day after day, and some of the scenes that seemed really good in script, once on screen, they were absolutely amazing.
Harvey was a hell of a ride because he's a very professional actor. He goes into detail. The fact that he was in the army, that helped a lot. He used to go into deep into the character of his role, which I really was impressed with them.
They're not difficult to work with. They're incredible actors to work with. They know the shot that we're framing for.
We discussed a lot. I can easily confess that, but I think that at the end we were really on the same page and everybody was very happy to have worked together on this project. And of course, these are great actors, everybody has his own way of doing things. But once you're honest and you defend your ideas and change your ideas when they show you that you're wrong, it's fine. It was a matter of working together and get the best result possible.
The fact that we were able to film on the locations where the revolution took part, where all this turmoil took part, was incredible because we could actually try to visualize how it happened historically.
Move! Move! Get out of the way!
We're doing a lot of research, taking photographs of reference that we've had from 1919 of this time. So we're looking at the way the sideburns, the hair was, the beards were, and even to a certain extent, even the costumes. So that we are at the makeup department, we're working hand in hand with the costume department to make sure that we get a closest look as we can, working with extras and working with the actors to achieve that 1919 visual representation of the hair and the makeup.
Malta is so compact and so dense with its population, machines, its marine life, and the whole country is a runway. So a lot of patience and endurance is required for you to actually capture a pristine sound, especially if you're shooting a period film like this is, where a lot of machinery that exists today didn't exist at the time.
The type of wounds mainly on this production are, because of the riots and the way the weapons were, are mainly bayonet wounds, like stab wounds, and bullet holes, and a lot of gashes that they were achieved by when the soldiers used to bash the heads or the bodies of the people with the butts of the rifles. So there's kind of like large gashes, broken noses, busted lips.
Action shot, obviously, physically, it involves so much more complication with special effects, with camera choreography.
There are quite a lot of people who were involved in this project. People who believed in the project, starting from the government and the private sector, and most of Maltese artists that when saw this project happening, then everybody wanted to go on board, which is quite a pleasant thing.
I think this is going to be the first time that we can proudly say that Storyview is Maltese in terms of scripting, in terms of production, in terms of holistic approach to cinematic efforts.
This was a very big, bold step, a public-private partnership between Arts Council Malta and Malta Productions, and I think it will going to be a very, very good beginning of a beautiful new journey in the film industry in Malta.
It has always been the desire of the people of these islands to share their experience and tell the story of how a small country in the middle of the Mediterranean managed against all odds to acquire gradually independence. A very interesting story because it shows that it's not how powerful you are militarily, but how much you believe in yourself and in your own identity.
The fact that the people of Malta stood for their own rights, which eventually led to constitutional changes, shows the significance of the events of 7 June 1919.
It's an event that created the Maltese nationality as we know it today.